Joining us now is Congressman Frank Wolf of the 10th District of Virginia. The congressman's a senior Republican on the House Appropriations Committee, serving his 15th term in the House. Congressman Wolf, thank you for being with us today.
Good to be with you, Senator.
We've been talking about the Justice Department dismissing a voter intimidation case against the new Black Panther Party in Philadelphia after the Justice Department had already won the case. And you have been a vocal critic and basically asking questions about why. Tell us a little bit of the background of this case and what the status of it is.
Well, they've won the case and they walked away from it. Secondly, the career people in the Justice Department all favored bringing the case and moving ahead, both at the Civil Rights Division and both at the Appellate Division. So all the career people believe this case should go forward and not be dropped. Thirdly, we got an opinion from the Congressional Reference Service, Research Service yesterday saying they have the ability to bring the case again. Fourthly, I'm going to be giving a speech on the floor in about an hour or an hour and a half, laying out some new information. We've asked them to refile and bring the case. And lastly, there are some very troubling video. It's a National Geographic video that's on where one of these individuals are saying things that I'm not going to repeat here on the radio. But I don't understand what's taking place. I mean, Eric Holder is politicizing. This is the second major issue. He wouldn't allow anybody from the FBI to come up and brief anyone up here on the whole Guantanamo Bay issue. And now on this issue, I think they're basically covering up. And I don't know what's taking place in the city. I don't know what's taking place in the country.
Well, it's outrageous, Congressman. Somebody told me a long time ago, look at justice and look at these second-level appointments. And by George, if it's not true, they're doing some bad stuff over at Justice, and the worst thing they're doing is basically just saying, we've got the votes in the House, we control the committees, and we don't have to answer any questions.
Well, that's what they're doing. And the troubling thing is here, John Conyers in the Judiciary Committee isn't looking into this. They're just letting this thing go. Secondly, you would think that the Philadelphia Inquirer, which is the leading newspaper in the city of Philadelphia, would be covering this story, and they've drawn a blank. They will not cover the story, nor has the New York Times. And this is racial intimidation. This is very bad. And when you look at the video, you will see, and if you look at the new video, you will see. So, I mean, unless the media begins to push this thing, I think Eric Holder will just hope that we run out of steam and they can let the summertime come and people will forget. Now, speaking only for myself, I'm not going to drop the issue. I originally come from Philadelphia. My dad was a Philadelphia policeman. I was the only member of the Virginia delegation, Republican or Democrat, that voted for the Voting Rights Act in 1981. In fact, the Richmond Times-Dispatch took me apart for voting for the Voting Rights Act. I did it because I believe that everyone ought to have the right to vote. There should be no intimidation. And lastly, there were a series of editorials in my congressional district criticizing me for voting for the voting rights extension in 2006. So I have been a strong supporter, and I'm not going to let Eric Holder drop this. Now, if the press wants to let it go, if the New York Times doesn't want to cover it, but I'm going to continue. And fortunately, I have the ability to get down on the floor of the House, as I'm going to do today, and speak out on this issue. And hopefully the American people will force the Obama administration and Eric Holder to deal with this.
That's what it's going to require. There's no question about that.
Look at all the coverage they had on this so-called beer summit yesterday.
Yeah.
They should be bringing people in to talk about this issue, because this is go on and look at National Geographic video that's on there today.
Are they intimidating voters?
Oh, they are intimidating people. They are saying things that are frightening. And this location is pretty close to where the Philadelphia Inquirer has its main offices. And the Inquirer is saying nothing, the media in Philadelphia is saying nothing, New York Times saying nothing. But I'm going to keep talking about it, and I appreciate you covering and others. And we're going to push Eric Holder for the next 4 years until he brings his case.
Good for you, and we will be there to help you. Thank you for doing what you're doing.
Thank you, sir.